Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Creative Corner. This is an opportunity for you to get inside the head, the heart, the soul of our authors. And joining me today is McAuliffe Phillips, the author of Moving Made Easy. How are you, Kim?
I'm excellent, thank you, Ocean. How's yourself?
I'm doing well. Look, I want to tell all the viewers a bit about this book, a bit about you. Why don't we start with you? Who is Kim?
Kim, aka the Moving Angel, is my title, since I've been given that by a wonderful client, and many clients have called me their moving angel. I was born into the removals industry. Being not 21 now, it's a few years ago. And second generation to the removals industry, lived and breathed the corporate world, helping people relocate. And after many years of listening to particularly women, what they didn't like about the removals industry, I felt there was a real need for Moving Made Easy. I wanted to make people enjoy their moving experience, make it easy for them. And then obviously the added on to that is publishing this one-of-a-kind book for the removals industry. That's a step-by-step guide to help you move the easy way if you don't need the moving angel.
Well, look, I remember you and I having this conversation a long time ago. I've moved like so many times in my life, and I do remember you telling me a lot of women have said to you that, this has not been a good process for us. I can tell you now, I wish I had your book 30 years ago, because man, oh man, I probably only would have moved a few times. So let's talk about this book. I know it's been something that's been in the pipeline for many, many years. Let's dig into it. What is it really about? What is it really going to give the reader?
Well, really, I feel it's priceless, because the information in this step-by-step book, as I said, it's a one-of-a-kind for the removals industry. It's a lot of my knowledge and experience that I've had in here, published in one book to guide you through and navigate that moving experience more on a DIY level. I mean, I've actually had a few people who've read the book and then read it and said, oh, this sounds too hard, I better get the moving angel in. So it's all in one book, and it's all different topics about from selecting the right removalist. I mean, years ago there was never options of hourly rates. Who would have thought? Now, set price versus hourly rate, which one do I go? Who's keeping your removalist accountable and responsible in that process? And topics about how to downsize and declutter before you move. I mean, if you don't need the items, why pay to move them?
Seems so simple, and I'm listening to you, and when I moved into this place, number one, the removalist threw my couch cushions over my fence onto the grass. Number two, after we moved in, the amount of crap we still had that we took to the dump. I mean, these are very, when you think about it, they're very simple things, but we don't think about them because it's not our space. So you mentioned earlier that a lot of people had said, that we haven't found moving enjoyable. It can't be just from that the idea from the book came from. There must be more to, because 20 years, Kim, we've known each other a while. So where's it really come?
I feel it was really deep-seated, Ocean, many years ago when I was working in the corporate world, and one of the positions I did there was a very negative role. It was in a call centre. We all had to take our turn at the call centre, and it was a 24-hour type system where people were moving for Army, Air Force and Navy. They could call in, and we were, they had problems and we had to solve them for them. And they were all about things about moving, and most of them were women. And after being second generation and born into this industry, which I love and I'm so passionate about it, I was listening to ladies talk about they couldn't find their sheets for their first night to sleep. They couldn't find their kettle. They needed their wine glass and their wine because they were that stressed and overwhelmed for the experience they'd had from the removalist, not doing the things that they should have. All these negative things, and I thought, this is bizarre. This is ridiculous. It should not happen. I obviously didn't wave a magic wand and then go, okay, let's do Moving Made Easy. There was many years after that where I was getting all my ducks lined up to make sure that I could create the most wonderful moving experience and make people's moving dreams come true that they never thought was possible. So it was, yes, deep-seated, as I said, many, many years ago. And I'd seen my parents do it for decades. They still are amazing business people in the industry, not running guys and trucks these days. But for me, it was a very simplified situation where it's got to be easy. People say to me all the time, why would you call a business like moving made easy? Well, it is easy. You just got to get the right help, and you need the right information, which part of, I'm only one person in this big pond of the industry, but then be able to create a step-by-step guide and a resource and a tool of the Moving Angels experiences over, 3 decades or more. I felt that was just a no-brainer, and it was information that I should not have been keeping inside, and it was my why to live and be the voice of the industry and basically take the roof off the house, if I can use that as an expression, get that roof off and let it out in a nice, positive way, because I feel that I'm very grateful that I get to work with some amazing people in my industry. Every industry's got the good, the bad, the ugly, and everything in between. But it's not a naming and shaming of the industry. It's a guide to help people, and that's what I was put on this planet to do, help people.
And it is about the consumer, and it is a stressful time. Moving house is very unsettling and creates a lot of anxiety for people, because what they had as a home, as they're like, this is my safe, comfortable space, suddenly is going to be shifted. So it's a very personal and vulnerable position to be in, and we do take that for granted. My wife absolutely hates moving, and it's very much for that reason. So when you have somebody that's going to make that transition for you peaceful and stressful, it's something you remember, and it's definitely something that you've established, because you have got quite a high profile here in Queensland, and you have established yourself as a leader in your industry because of your approach to the consumer. So let's go back into the book again. Writing it, what did you learn about writing about your field of expertise?
That's an interesting question. I learned how resilient I am. My dad has actually said to me for many years I was built for endurance, not speed, and I'll definitely claim that one. It's not for the faint-hearted, definitely not. It's hard to put into words, really, Ocean. I've been to your presentations before and other book launches from other people, but unless you actually get to live and breathe and eat it, basically, it does consume you. But in a really nice way, a really beautiful experience that you learn about things within yourself and things that the journey along the way, the stories people have told you about the industry, good ones, bad ones, and then all this extra knowledge coming out that you had forgotten, perhaps, whilst you're writing chapters. Little things come to mind. It was if I can say surreal, can I use that word? Because you're an author yourself, published author. You know what that feels like. Does that sort of resonate?
Yes, it does. It does, because like, you have been to my seminars in the past. One of the things I've often said is that creative expression is within us all, and as adults we say, oh well, we're not creative. That's only because it's been educated out of us. But once as an adult and you rediscover a angle of creativity for you, it is very surreal, because number one, it's dismissing that negative thought of, oh, I'm not creative, and you're going, wow, I actually can do this. And I guess the second thing is it reinvigorates your child within you, is that, I can actually express myself in this way. I kind of always could, sort of thing. So that in itself is surreal. Off camera, before we started this interview, you and I were having a conversation about the amount of people that have said to me, if I had $1 for the amount of people that have said to me, I've always wanted to write a book, Ocean. And I actually had a meeting with a Kiwi yesterday, a guy from close to where I used to live. And I gave him his proof copy, and I was reading through it, and he's been very vulnerable in this book. And I said to him exactly that story, is that if the amount of people that have come up to me and said, I've always wanted to write a book, and then the amount of people that actually have written something, and then the amount of people that have finished it, and then the amount of people that have actually come back to somebody like me, and then the ones that have done what you've done. And it's actually quite a small part of the population. because everyone says they want to do this, but for whatever reason, they've created blocks to actually get there. I know, especially because of the family business where Moving Made Easy and the Moving Angel came from, how important it was for you that your parents saw this publication. And I remember that being one of the main drivers when we started this journey, is that connection. And to me, it's that legacy piece that you've established. And I know it's way more than a book for you. That's true, eh?
You nailed it there. I mean, the 4 best things I've done in my life is meet my husband, have our daughter, walk the Kokoda track, and now publish this book. And there is no amount of money, and the legacy that, you know, if I fell off my perch tomorrow, the legacy that I've left, especially for my biggest role models and mentors, my parents, yes, they don't think sometimes, I think they're too humble, but they were so visionary and such trailblazers and entrepreneurs in their own right when they created their business, and to learn from the best. Like, if there was a hall of fame in the removals industry, that, you know, Barry and Judy McAuliffe's names would be there, of course. So, and you maybe thought too, when I've met you 2 or 3 times when, you know, launches or your talks, and I said to you, I'm going to publish a book and I'll be seeing you, and you probably thought, oh yeah, here's another one.
I did at the start, yes, because I had. You were part of this pool. You became part of this pool.
I know, see, so that would happen all the time. So I totally get that, but I say to anyone watching this, like, I mean, I actually have some more books in there now. Brett often will say, there's another book or there's another book. And really, this book, as you know, you get to publish some amazing books and on the journeys with the authors. It's not a sexy book, like it's not 50 Shades of Grey, and it's not, but honestly, I'm the biggest kept secret in the removals industry, really, for AKA the Moving Angel, but also the knowledge that's in this resource as well, because so many people can learn from it, and you get to talk to authors all the time. So just make it happen. Don't talk about it.
You know, our mission statement, to inspire positive change in the world. That's the authors we want to work with. You say it's not sexy. To be honest, I don't think any of our books can be classed as sexy. But what I can say is that 95% of the books that we've published over the past 7 years have achieved that goal. And yours is one of them. So, like, to think that you bringing this book to life is one of your top 4 parts of your life, I just want to say on behalf of myself and everybody at Ocean Reef Publishing, we're very grateful that we've been a part of that for you, because it's one of the reasons why we do what we do. Let's talk about that journey. Let's talk about publishing. How did you find that? How did you find working through bringing the book to life?
Well, I type A personality. I do work well under structure and routine. Not always, can catch me out every now and again, but mostly that works well for me. So Ocean Reef Publishing created that from the get-go. So everything was, you know, set out. And I must mention Sarah K-Till, who was our publishing coordinator through our journey. She was, and you know how good she, not good's not a great, you know, she's amazing. She's wonderful. Yeah. She is so switched on. She holds your hand the whole process through. So, and we know there's no I in team, and she was just wonderful through the whole process. And you and I didn't have a lot to do with, but you know, when you've got an integral team, you don't have to be constantly in touch with your authors, and I'm sure you knew everything was going on in the background, but
certainly did.
She was, she's one very special lady, and we all know in life, whether it's at work or home or publishing journey, whatever, it's all about relationships and that human connection with someone. So when you connect with someone, you form a relationship, you feel like Superman and Superwoman, that you're unstoppable, you can do anything. And that really is, that's the true essence of it, that I believe that's how it can come to fruition. And I obviously didn't do all this on my own. I mentioned Team Phillips every now and again, but that's really a vital part of it. You've got to, with anything you do, you've got to have the right team.
Now that it's out there, now that it's being read and it is inspiring people and changing how they think about that anxious moment of moving, what has been the feedback from it? What's been said?
Oh, sensational. There's been quite a mix of things, from people reading it to saying, oh, I better not use that word, but all that all sounds too hard. I better call and get the moving angel in. Actually, the first lady, the first copy I sold, a bit ironic how the universe works its lovely magic, Ocean, is the first person, and this is how social media is powerful too, which we all know, or not everyone knows, but most of us know. The first lady that bought my book, we met in 2000 on a trip around Egypt with a group, and due to a connection on Facebook through another lady said, she was moving to Queensland, so she was the first person to buy my book. I actually felt honoured as an author that I got to sell my first copy to someone I'd met 2 decades ago that was going to be moving, that it was through a referral from our group. So the whole circle of how it's a small world, but it's a very big world and it's very connected.
That doesn't surprise me with you. To hear a story like that, I'm actually not surprised in the slightest.
Well, yeah, look, the comment, and even from people within my industry, some of the companies that I collaborate with, the feedback from them has been great. And a few have said, I've wanted to write a book. I mean, I even said to a lovely lady in my industry yesterday, I said, you've got a book in you. Like, we could get together, because there's not a lot of women in our industry. It's still very dominated by men. We're changing the path, which is really great. But I feel as together as all human beings, men, women, we can all collaborate and we all can help each other and make our world a better place and have a really positive, outlook on things and help others that are going through stressful times, whatever industry that could be in.
I think the book gives you that kind of leverage to be in that position too. And there was a time, 20, 30 years ago where people used to say that publishing a book would be a glorified business card, and it evolved into the equivalent to a uni degree because it had that kind of impact. And as we've been saying throughout this whole conversation, the amount of people that say they want to write a book and the ones that do actually are held in a bit of reverence. I guess, from my perspective, I've got another book in me that I have to get out, and I have started. You guys keep me too damn busy to actually get any further with it. But what about you as a writer? You mentioned before, Brett said something, there's another book there. What's next for you as a writer? What's coming up, Kim?
I've got a couple in mind. A couple of different ones. Because obviously my first book is more for the audience as part of moving. It's a little bit about me and my journey, but it's not an autobiography by any means. So I'm busy with probably doing, helping my lovely clients at the moment, making a few notes here and there for the next book. But Brett and I laugh because we think we could do a couples one. We've just gone 26 years married and 28 together, and as we know, it's not all roses and sunshine. You go through your ups and downs. So I think we may have a book in there to help some couples. But I've actually had, and you're right about saying being an author, is like the opportunities it opens up for all of a sudden when you become an author. People look at you differently, they judge you differently. The opportunities it's opened to me with some speaking opportunities, which has been great. I mean, I left school at 15 with very minimal education, but don't let you stop becoming a published author, because what you're not good at, you outsource to someone else. I mean, I won't claim to be a writer as such. I'm definitely a talker, as you know, but that's why people outsource to me for moving, because you don't have to know everything. You don't have to be a scholar at everything. There's people, there's even ghostwriters these days, isn't there?
Yeah, like I've got a couple of people that are working with us in ghostwriting, and my team is helping them write their stories. It's, I guess, at the end of the day, it's a journey that's worth traveling, because like you said before, you find out a lot about yourself and what you're capable of, and it does leave a stamp in your journey of life that takes a different direction. I tell you what, here's a great book I'd love to see from you. The amount of funny stories you must have from moving people's houses. I mean, one day I moved in a taxi van, so I know that they are there. Those stories are there. So that would be a great book. You and Brent should co-write that, the funny stories of moving.
Some of the stories we can't publish.
Okay. Now my mind is getting carried away. All right, listen, I want you to read a part of the book out for us. And I know that this has caught you a bit off guard this morning, so let's just see where that goes. Share part of your book for the viewers today so they can get a feel for Moving Made Easy by the Moving Angel.
Thank you, Ocean. It's my pleasure. I still, every day I have to tell you, I pinch myself that I have this book. I still do, because when you can sort of, like I said, surreal's the word. Anyway.
It is.
Okay. This book gives the most valuable and honest advice to people preparing to move. It is the first of its kind for the removals industry. Following the tips and strategies will go a long way to ensuring your next move is your best move. And that's actually a testimony in my book from actually, I'm just getting goosebumps. So this company I've collaborated for more than 2 decades. The founder and owner started the business more than 50 years ago. Last year, he won an award, thank goodness. I don't know how he hadn't won it earlier, to be recognised for Driver of the Year. Wow. It's come from Thompson's Removals and Storage. They are amazing people in my industry, and I have so much respect and everything for what they do, because I can't do the things I do without amazing people like that as well. So
you're an absolute star, Kim. Even this whole conversation has been you giving gratitude and thanks to so many people, and you have been a absolute delight to work with and bringing your book to life, and my team have enjoyed it thoroughly as well. I want to thank you so much for joining me today and having this chat. It's long overdue.
Oh, it is. I don't know if Sarah would say some days there I was having my little pity parties and she got me going with bits and pieces here and there. So hopefully I wasn't too hard to work. But look,
I swear to God, there was never a complaint about an email, a phone call, or anything from Sarah about you. Believe me, it was a very, very pleasant experience for us. So it was great.
Yeah. Oh, she's worth her weight in gold, that lady, you know that. So no, I'm very grateful for everyone that's taken me on this journey, and that's just not the publishing journey. This book wouldn't be possible with all those other experiences that we have in life, from people we meet on a plane, or just could be someone cleaning the local shopping centre toilets. You just never know what little impact or hidden gem they'll provide you with on that particular day.
I just before we sign off, I've got Kim Morrison wrote the foreword.
Kim Morrison, actually, she did an amazing testimonial for me.
She did write something for you, didn't she?
She did, and I could have actually read that out. Kim calls me.
Kim's one of our authors, and she's done a book about the art of self-love. She is one of the most connected people. She's just the most lovable person, and I think it's a really good reflection of the sort of person you are too. That Kim would not hesitate in writing something to support you. So read that out before we sign off.
So there's a little bit on the front cover, but there's a bigger. Kim Morrison, she warms your heart. She's just a beautiful, kind, caring person. And she makes our world a better place. And yes, The Art of Self-Love, I think that's one of the best books ever produced. And more people should be reading and doing more about self-love. So I've helped Kim professionally and personally, but I'll just read you a little bit out of what she's popped in my book for me. So Kim Phillips is the queen when it comes to moving. Having been a client and read this beautiful book, I can honestly say her ability to make such a stressful time stress-free is her greatest gift. She has been in the industry a long time. No one knows it better than Kim. Her helpful tips and tricks and advice makes the biggest difference. She has the kindest, most caring heart, as seen in all the little touches. She is the best in the business. Helping people is her passion, which is why she gets such a buzz to make moving easy. Thank you, Kim. And actually, when I read this or people make comments, I say, who is that lady? Who is that moving angel? And then I remember Brett tells me, oh, that's me.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. That was a deliberate act on my part. I wanted to hear that, or I actually wanted you to say that, what Kim had said about you to the viewers, so that they can see that even outside of your industry, you are a very respected and loved individual. I want to thank you so much again, Kim, for joining me today on the Creative Corner and having this conversation. It's been absolutely awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, and I hope anyone watching has been sitting there pondering, thinking about that extra dollar for ocean. I'm going to write a book. Well, get in there and make it happen. I actually say this is my marathon because I wanted to do a marathon for my 50th, but due to an injury, I couldn't. So my book is my marathon. If I never get a marathon, well, I lived and breathed it during this publishing journey, but it was worth every hill that I climbed and every mountain I got over.
You're an absolute star. Thank you so much. Okay.
Thank you.
For all of you guys out there, number one, I want you to go and check out the link at the bottom of the screen. First, go and have a look at The Moving Angel. Find out what we're talking about here because it's all there. Now, we've been speaking about how this book is not sexy. Maybe not, but what this book is an insight into one of an unsung hero in this country. And I'm so pleased that my brand is on this book. Go and find out why, guys, and check it out. See you next time on The Creative Corner.